Thank everyone for coming out today. Before we go any further, I'd like to ask Sheriff Curtis McGee to come up and say the blessing for today's meal.
Pray together, please. Father, thank you very much for the beautiful day. Thank you for all of the blessings you've given us. We realize that every good and perfect gift comes from you. Thank you for the people that are part of this great organization. We ask you to bless the chamber, bless the businesses and the industry of Muhlenberg County. We also ask for your blessings upon the people of this community and this county as well. We thank you again for everything that you do for us. Thank you for the food that was provided, for the fellowship that we've already enjoyed. Be with our speakers today in our presentation. I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
At this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Vicki Yantz, President of Champions for a Drug-Free Muhlenberg, and today's program.
I really do want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today on behalf of Champions for a Drug-Free Muhlenberg County. Excuse my voice, I am on steroids. I think I have steroid laryngitis. Will Muhlenberg County ever be drug-free? No, we know that, but we can strive. And we'd like to take the starfish analogy. If we can help one person, then we've made a difference. At this time, we have asked each of our city police departments and our sheriff's office to speak a little bit and give you like a state of the city, what's going on. So I've asked them to do that, and of course they have asked their PR representatives to do that. So today we have Mr. Jason Lindsay from Central City, Wes Miller from Greenville, and Alex Piper from the sheriff's office. So they're going to come up one at a time, so give them a hand.
Well, some of the statistics of our department, in 2015, Central City Police Department opened up 108 drug-related cases in the city and made 404 criminal arrests inside the city, which 87 of those 404 were DUI related. 2016 our numbers probably are going to be higher. Through the first quarter of this year, we've already arrested over 50 DUIs in the city. The DUIs, of course, they've always been there, but we've seen a rise in numbers. A lot of it is due to our officers being motivated to find impaired drivers, and also 9 of the 14 officers we have at our department are ARIDE certified. ARIDE stands for Advanced Roadside Impairment Detection Enforcement. It's extra training in the aid of detecting impaired drivers. By the end of next year, everybody in our department, all 14 officers, will be ARIDE certified. We also do a lot of safety checkpoints on a routine basis to check for child restraint systems being properly used, and also impaired drivers. Of course, she said the drug problem, of course, is the number one problem. About all calls that we go on are related some way to drug or alcohol abuse. We've seen last year the cases of crystal meth and prescription medication abuse has been on the rise for over the last couple of years. Also, we've also seen a rise in marijuana possession and trafficking cases have been on the rise.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Wes Miller with the Greenville Police Department. I'm the Public Information Officer with the Greenville Police Department. Just a little bit about our department. We have 9 full-time officers, 3 part-time officers. We all work 24/7, street coverage 24/7. Most of the calls that we deal with on a daily basis have some kind of connection to drugs, whether it's domestic violence or theft or just a simple traffic stop. It's usually related to drugs. One of the trends we're seeing now is synthetic drugs or chemically made drugs that are similar to marijuana or meth or cocaine or things like that. A lot of times they have a more increased reaction to those drugs than they would with meth or other drugs. More increased paranoia, aggression, things like that. We see a lot of that on a daily or weekly basis. And a lot of times it is a result of drug or alcohol use. Most of the time there's children involved in these. They're actually seeing the drug abuse, seeing the violence. And a lot of times we go on the call and the children actually understand what those drug items are. They can tell you what they are or tell you where their parents actually hide the drug items. A lot of times it's good because the children actually tell on their parents and tell us, hey, my mom's got this stuff, this green stuff in this bag over here in the closet. We get a lot of calls for stolen medication. Some of them are actually legit calls. A lot of them, we're seeing that trend now where people actually sell their medication and then they'll call on the report saying, hey, my medication was stolen, so they can go to the doctor and get more medication. So typically, we have to have some pretty good evidence before we actually work a case like that to prove that somebody actually did steal it instead of them just selling it themselves to get more medication.
Deputy Alex Piper, Muhlenberg County Sheriff's Office, Public Information Officer, and myself and Officer Miller, he had mentioned, we're also Muhlenberg County's liaison to Kentucky's Office of Homeland Security. We work closely with, speaking with the drugs, we see a lot of new trends that's coming in. And I was thinking today, when the sheriff asked me to speak here, that, it's the Chamber of Commerce, and one of the big things, speaking with drugs, how it affects most everyone in here is represent the business leader of our community. If we have a drug problem here, obviously it's going to hurt our economy here. We have, we've traditionally relied on coal mining a lot lately. We know that that's kind of up in the air. Economy's a little shaky, not only here, but in the rest of the nation. So I think it's very important to take more of a proactive stance. Police officers have been criticized a lot. They say they think that we can arrest our way out of every problem that we encounter. Often the problem is that when it gets to us, we have no other choice than to make arrests. These officers here, Central City, Greenville, as far as I'm concerned, some of the best officers that you can work with in the state. That being said, we've mentioned arrest and things, but prevention is kind of the stance that I wanted to speak on today. Like I said, these guys, they've touched on a lot of what we're doing as far as arrest and investigations that we've made. I know myself, Sheriff McGee, we try to go out, we get into school. I stay pretty involved. Vicki usually has some type of project somewhere for me to be involved in. I was asked the question the other day, speaking of school age, someone asked me, they said, what is the earliest age that you should begin to talk to your children about? I don't have an answer for that. Myself, I think as soon as they can understand words. You all, especially being involved with business, one of the most powerful tools that you have in your business, commercial advertising, is simple repetition. We need to start. One of the things that I would like to ask you all today is, when you go home, when you leave here, those of you that have children, talk to your kids about drugs. I know everybody says that, everybody thinks that they do, but it's important for you to go home, sit down and tell them, don't do that. Everybody wants to sit in here and think, hey, my kid's not going to be involved in that. And I'm sure everyone here has wonderful kids. Your kid may never be involved with drugs. But if you're putting that information out there, and he's out with his friends, and they get encountered someone at a party, someone pulls out some meth, say, you want to do some meth? Have that education there. There's only a limited number of police officers in this county. A lot of people look at us, they depend on us to keep drugs out of their community. But we can only be in so many places at once. And I feel like I'm a little biased here, but I feel like law enforcement here has done a great job in the last few years. I'll be 40 years old this year. I've lived in Muhlenberg County my whole life. And I think it's better now than it has been. Talk to your kids, remind them every day. I grew up, I had some friends in high school that did some questionable things. And I stayed pretty straight because I was scared to death of my dad. Now my dad, he probably wasn't the most professional guy when he talked to me about drugs. He probably didn't know what that was going to do to what that would do to my body if I'd done it. But I knew what would happen to my body if I did do it when my dad found out. Just leaving it at that. However you choose to do it, make sure your kids have that information out there. Because, when I was growing up, I could have had 20 police officers come to me and talk to me and say, hey, don't do drugs. I'm like, yeah, that's their job. That guy, that's what he gets paid to do. But your kids are going to listen to who cares for them. And, if you guys can go home and do that, talk to your kids, because there are kids out there that may not have parents like you at home. And, maybe your kids will talk to those kids, because it's got to get through to them somewhere.